I'd like to call, agenda review meeting to order. Meeting will be July 1st, 2025. Ms. Buzzy will be doing,
I would love to.
like, do it now.
Are we about to practice a prayer?
Yeah, I didn't practice prayer.
I was about to be like, no, look.
It is agenda
I would
review.
be honored to pray though.
I'd like to approve minutes, June the 3rd, meeting 2025, and June the 23rd, 2025. You get a motion? Approve minutes. Good.
No, you're just going through the agenda right now.
No,
Good.
no.
I don't think so.
This is Johnny's first time being vice mayor.
We only have one proclamation. All right, first reading, proposed budget amendment to recognize insurance recovery for $13,947 for Jackson Police Department Unit 2262, appropriate for repairs.
They wrecked a police car, they got some money,
You're gonna repair it.
they're gonna repair it.
I think that's appropriate.
All right, the next several ones we're gonna turn over to Stan. Yeah, take it from there.
This is like a stand show. The first one that you've got in your packet is an annexation request. And as I always said, this is a requested annexation. And in your packet, you also have a plan of service that states how the services will be delivered and also the zoning that will be on the property when it's annexed, which is always 2 single-family residential. So, you don't have any questions about that?
So if we annex this, it's gonna cost us money. Is that, I understand, we lose money on residential property. Is that true?
Net loss, yeah.
So with our budget situation right now, do we wanna go out and make more financial obligations?
Whose district is this? I just was wondering whose district, this was.
But if you live in a vacuum of just residential property, more residents brings more business. So that's why you have the more residents to
Well,
create the
also,
growth
we've
of
got a
business.
tremendous housing need. And this is a way of providing a place for people to locate.
You do. You look thrilled. Are you?
And it's also
I'm
tying into
with tanking it.
existing residential
Okay.
areas that are already in the city.
Oh, I think we need to go resolution without.
I didn't get any emails about that.
Me either.
You said it's only trash that needs. So you're
Still
good.
got it.
All right, number 3 is consideration ordinance to rezone property located in Area 1, Edgefield, and Councilgate Drive.
And these are areas that are inside the city that are joining the areas that you see in the annexation. So basically, the 2 areas you see are the same area that we saw with the annexation, except they're already in the city, and they're just basically, requesting annexation, rezoning from the RS1 to RS2. And that's the areas that we're joining.
Any questions? All right.
And let me go back to number 2 about the, annexation. Notice was given to all the surrounding and adjacent people out there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Number 4, consideration ordinance to rezone property located at 191 Grand Drive from RG1 General Residential to District SE1 Plan Unit Commercial Development District, comprised of 5.0 acre waterways.
All right, so you have in your packet this rezoning request. They are asking for a change to commercial. It is shown as commercial, potential commercial on our land use plan, comprehensive land use plan for the city, so it is compliance with that. The developers are here tonight and they just wanted to make us a short presentation, just give you some information.
Okay, you want me to stand up?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you want.
So we've talked to or met with most of you guys, but if not, just introduction. I'm Alex Holman. I'm a commercial real estate broker, builder, home builder. Colin, he's a neighborhood developer, and his wife Cindy helps him out. They've developed multiple neighborhoods throughout Jackson. So I printed off kind of what we're wanting to do. I printed off 9 copies of each. So if y'all can pass these around, one's a concept plan, a rendering. The rest of them are traffic maps, and traffic maps and then the other rendering that we have, and then while y'all are passing that around, just to kind of recap, we went to the planning commission with what we wanted to do. Didn't really get a chance to get up and speak, but, we did not receive the planning recommendation for what we wanted to do. And long story short, the property, I guess, developer back in, when was that, Sam? 2008, went to do condos along the country club. And, he had it zoned as RG2 and then ended up doing a PRD for these condos to back up to the country club. So we're asking to get that PRD put back in place so that we can do, not exactly condos, we're wanting to do like upscale townhomes, you know, just very nice, upscale quality, probably the highest per square foot stuff that you'd see in Jackson, you know. And then we're really wanting to do that to combine the use of the property to be mixed use. I specifically do retail, commercial brokerage, most recently brought Jonathan's Grill and some other stuff. That's probably the biggest thing I've done here recently. So we've looked to do something that nice or nicer here. I'm not saying that will be a restaurant. You know, that could be many things. There were lots of ideas tossed around, and we can't really dial into what we're gonna do until we know we have a piece of property that we can do something on, you know, and that's, so we believe, I guess, long story short, we believe this is in a retail corridor. I think it's the highest and best use for the property. Retailers are gonna like this. There's good traffic, although there's concerns with traffic as well. That's what retailers want, when they go to develop a property or do a deal at a property. So there's good traffic, the household incomes are good, and they attract high quality retailers. You know, we've had some pushback from neighbors on some certain items, and I can get into those. I think most of you probably already know that the main one's gonna be traffic, and our answer to that is, you know, we're gonna do a traffic study. We talked with Stan, that would be part of the developmental phase of the project. There's concerns about drainage. There's gonna have to be a drainage study done. In fact, we already have one that was done a while back. Yeah. Do you wanna add anything to the drainage or? I mean,
One thing to know is the taxes we pay right now, $745 a year. Quick numbers on it, this does have potential of up to $200,000 to $250,000 a year in taxes. So, it does help the budget.
yeah.
And it is infill, it's one of the things that, it's an infill, so it's gonna be no impact on your infrastructure.
When you give that 250 number, are you talking about just in property taxes, or are you
Just in.
are you
pretty much just
generating
the
some
property
type of
taxes.
sales tax from this?
Very little sales tax, it's mainly the property tax. You know, the residential, and then you put a $5, $6, $7, $8 million building on it.
Yeah, and like I said, we want to do something upscale. People are gonna go spend a lot of money at what we're wanting. I mean, you look at Jonathan's, I mean,
It's
I don't know what the
sales tax.
numbers are with the place. You can't even get in the place, you know? And like I said, I'm not dialed into a restaurant there, although I have relationships with plenty of restaurant retailers, but, we want to do something that nice or nicer, and we do think it would help the budget. You know, we were kind of paying attention to the meeting y'all had the other day, and that's just one positive outcome of this project. We don't like the current zoning of RG1. I believe if you go, you know, the only financially feasible way to develop that property under its current zoning is to install the infrastructure and then put as much in there as you can density wise, because of the cost.
And that'll really start.
I think it will be the worst use for that property. I think it will be terrible, and we really don't want to do that, but it's the fallback option because we can't do anything else.
Question on these townhouses, are they gonna be rentals, or are they gonna be buying?
We would sell those.
Do you know what price point you would be at?
We're thinking minimum 300.
Like, what are you thinking your square foot cost would be? Selling it?
Oh, like.
160, 170?
Probably 300 a square foot, 250,
Okay, really?
300 a square foot.
Alright, good.
We're saying really upscale, top out finishes.
Yeah.
Your average new construction in Jackson is what, Jill? I mean,
Like
I should
180,
know this from
190,
a builder,
but
it's like
180, 190 is being like your higher end, smaller houses.
Right,
You go out to like Quail Creek and all that, you're looking at like 230 a
right.
square foot, so,
We're planning on their finishes and maybe a little bit nicer.
okay.
Yeah. We're not talking no, because we've had country club members say, well, what's the back of the townhome gonna look like? I mean, we don't have plans for vinyl or any subpar materials. We're doing, you know, all brick, hardy board.
Quartz
Mirtex
countertops,
siding.
LVP, no
Nice
carpet.
stuff,
Is
yeah.
it gonna be gated by any chance?
Yes.
We think that'd be nice.
Gated.
We think that'd be nice.
No,
And then you know, again, this is just a concept plan, so like the location of, you know, the location of the commercial building, that's not like our end all be all. This is just a concept to get to where we can potentially get the rezoning grant. Because we've had neighbors say, we don't want a building in our backyard. Well, that's not where the building has to go.
Will if you do this, will you take HOA covenants and restrictions and also put it on for this part so that the buildings have to match and it's not gonna look
Yes.
piecemeal where you've got $300 a square foot townhouses here, but then you've got, you know, a MAPCO with lights everywhere?
Right, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And let me also mention.
Lights, you know what I said.
Let me mention just for clarity, I gave you a revised map, and the reason why we did is because the way the way the PRD works in Jackson, you know, you had a map that showed the property that's being requested for rezoning that didn't have anything to do with the upper portion, but the upper portion showed as PRD. We provide you a revision because the PRD, the way it works is if you don't act on it, if you don't start development on the PRD within a year, then the property reverts back to the original zoning. So basically, all that track is RG1 right now.
What's
Now,
this?
what they,
We just threw, that's a 6-7 of an acre parcel, and I mean, in
Could be like a coffee
theory,
shop or something.
there's some users out there that would take that, like the Human Being or something, but we just put it on there just for, you know.
but their plan is basically revolves around a mixed use. So if they're successful in getting the commercial part, they plan on coming back with the PRD request, which would be, you know, advantageous to the area because you would know on the front end what you're getting and all the things that they're telling you will be locked in. I would think the country club would want to see that happen because it would give them an indication of what they're going to get. They're going to come back with that because if they don't get the commercial rezoning, then they're going to be looking at a development scheme for the entire property. And so that's why they started with this. But this concept they're looking at now is what they really want to do. But if they can't get the zoning because I've been asked questions, the only reason I'm saying this not because I'm an advocate for them, because this is all the questions I've been getting from people who have been asking about it. So this is what they would like to do. But if they can't get the zoning, then they have to do whatever the zoning will allow them to do. But let me just say the Planning Commission did not recommend this to you. It was a split vote. And the way the Planning Commission works is if you don't get an affirmative vote, then it's considered a negative. So that's the negative recommendation you get. And also, the property is shown as commercial on the comprehensive land use plan. So the recommendation was in favor of it from our standpoint, but the Planning Commission, there was a difference of opinion on both sides on what made the most sense. So again, I'm just sharing all that with you so that you have all the information that I have.
Is there any changes that could be made to that would make the planning commission support it?
I think it was just the opposition. I mean, there was just a lot of people there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind speaking on that, because.
I wanted to ask, I had a question. So I'm a very visual person.
Right, that's why we try to put color on it.
Where is Van Drive even on here? Or
Yeah.
where's Van Drive?
This is Van
Oh,
Drive.
so this
So-
is Van Drive.
Right, so Cracker Barrel and I'm not sure what the other
So
ones
is
are.
Microtel.
Microtel.
Where is the, shortcut road to Gillens?
On that
Here?
Country Club Lane is right here.
Okay,
So that's the,
Where's Country Club?
Country Club Lane.
right, it's on the far left side of that page, yes.
And based on what the traffic study could potentially produce, would there be anything that could compel us to modify that intersection, perhaps consider a traffic light there?
Well, the developer will be responsible for any improvements that are required, and I will say, in talking to our consulting engineer, he said that signal has been right at Warrant, and this would push it across that line. So yes, a traffic light will be pretty much a definite for that.
That's
Okay.
good, because people drag race up through there all the time.
That's what I wanted to ask, if there was a chance.
Yeah, people have asked in the past about, we need a light, but it never met Warrant's on its present level because, you know, it's not a through street anymore. And so it was feeding mostly residential traffic, which tends to come out at varying times, so you never get the volume. But it's very close and I would be, I would think that this development would push it to that threshold. And I'm pretty much of the opinion that it would.
Two questions. What do you do if it's not approved? Like, what is your plan then?
The only thing we can do under current zoning is build the duplexes that are across from the country club.
Mass housing though.
So to be honest, that'd be our plan, because that's all we can
That's
do.
the only thing that makes, squeeze as many as you can on there, is the only thing that makes sense for the land cost of the development house.
Cause right now there's a sign about apartments or something coming soon.
Right.
Yeah, so it would be, you'd have max density,
So
you'd have
our
quite a
purpose of
bit.
that was, because we can't.
And would
meet-
they be rental or would those be sold?
Those would probably be around. Those would probably be around. And our purpose of putting the sign up is we can't meet face to face with every different neighbor. I know we've had a few loud people stir up a lot of attention at, at the planning commission but guys, we have a ton of support on this. I mean, I know a lot of people at the country club.
We need them to email us.
We do, but
Because.
We
we're not
say
getting
that,
a
but
lot
in
of-
reality, the amount of emails that we've gotten on it are not even 1% of the people that live in the district.
Right.
And we've got to start taking that into
well,
account.
and the unfortunate thing is
I've got tons of
people
emails.
they don't want to spend their time to go support something. They'll spend
they
their
don't care.
time to complain about it,
Yes.
but they're not going to spend their day and take off work to come support something that they have no stake in.
Mhm.
But they will complain about it. That's the unfortunate truth.
Can some of those people come to the council meetings and speak in favor?
The ones, yeah, in favor.
That's what our
Some of his
public comments for.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Julie,
if-
you can
if
get
it's just
in the
people
comment.
complaining,
There's some
Most people are not gonna take off work, and in my
That's
district,
what
there's a
I'm
ton of
saying.
people, but I'm saying that, how much, there's about 17,000 people in each district, right? Roughly. And I've probably gotten 50 emails, it's not even
you
1%.
have 17,000?
You split it up nine.
Roughly,
I have
Those
like,
aren't registered voters, those are people.
Yeah.
We truly think they're gonna horribly dislike the fallback product of the duplex.
I would
And
much
people
rather
don't
something high
understand.
end, bringing up my value than mass rental property. I mean, I manage
And that
rental
was the purpose
property
of the
every
sign.
day,
It's
I
like, hey,
get
like,
what's gonna
This is
come.
what- this is all we can do if you won't let me do something nice, you know?
Did you tell those people that?
We did.
They don't
Most
listen.
people, for some reason, think that duplexes are commercial. I don't know where they get that from, but they just don't see.
Taxes are considered commercial.
No, they don't.
Between 40%, you charge 40% on it because it's commercial. Duplexes.
no,
No.
My duplexes, you're telling me I'm not paying 40% tax on it?
Duplexes are.
I've never, on mine, when I had, it was not, when I got the fourplex.
4 units?
My duplex, I'm not paying that
Right, and
on.
I'm not paying those taxes.
Just yours. Just yours.
I knew that was
You thought about having
And also,
a
then we have-
town hall
I don't remember all their names, but
neighborhood.
we met with
Has he
one
wanted
family,
to?
prominent.
I never really asked them. I think that,
Country club member.
I think
I
we've
met
got
with
too
him for
much
2
we need
hours.
to do in the city, and
After
at the end of the
meeting
day,
with him
I'm
face-to-face,
supposed to
I mean,
vote for
he was
overall
full
what's
support.
best and generating the income, knowing, I've seen what he's done. I've seen what he's done. We all know what they've
Yeah, I
done.
mean, this is just a.
That's gonna be the best use.
Like,
Otherwise, it's gonna get,
in theory, this would be like on our development, this would be banned. This would be the commercial.
Run them out of here already.
Well, bye. But this was helpful.
Ask your 2 questions and run.
Well, bye.
All right, Stan.
Y'all have fun.
Oh, fine.
You made about 2 studies that were gonna be done.
All
One
right,
was
y'all,
a
I'm
traffic
gonna ask
study.
for us to come back
and
together,
a drainage
please.
study.
If you
Drainage
would,
study.
get them back
You want
together.
the
drainage study.
Okay, my question is,
And that's what we're saying.
is either one of those studies?
hey, Larry, hold on.
Let's get back together, please, if we don't mind.
Sure.
One
I
at a
guess
time.
Johnny's
Now, I
job.
wanna hear, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Connie, you might ask them then to get back.
What I did, but you took over, so I just
I was
asked.
looking, I was
Me and
getting
Rose
so
didn't have
loud.
the
Go
discussion,
ahead,
but,
go ahead. Larry,
go ahead, Larry.
you mentioned 2 studies, drainage study, and traffic study. Is anything that could come up those that would cost the city money?
No, anything that the development causes.
You're right.
The
So
development
if
has
we
to
had
do
that
it.
extra traffic light,
They would have to bear the
increase
cost of
4 lanes, turning lanes, all that would be the
Developer cost.
developer cost.
Right,
Thank
yes,
you.
sir, yeah.
So I was gonna ask, a lot of people where the townhouses already are, they had issues like,
Right.
I don't wanna look at the back of the building, so, I think there was some talk about maybe you guys doing some like trees or.
I mean,
We-
we're open to anything, that's what,
Yeah,
we just, right now, what we're getting.
In reality, where are they
say
go-
no.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We don't want it.
They didn't want.
Well, come to us and say, what do you not like, we'll work with you.
yeah, and really at the end of the day, like, again, it's just a concept, like, when you get a retail, the way, in retail, you know, like Jonathan's Grill, for instance, when you get somebody like that interested in a site, they really wanna have a say in where they're building, where they want their building. So, I mean, it's likely that they wouldn't even want it there, you know? So, I mean, that,
There's also something to say that some of those duplexes are rentals, and you're hearing from tenants, or you're hearing,
that's right.
and you're not hearing from the actual property owner.
You
I
turn
thought
it
those
right
were
there to the
townhomes.
left.
Some of them are rentals,
Some of them-
manage a few,
some of
yes.
those are rentals.
Those are the only ones, well, I mean, I've heard from others, but those are the ones.
And their main concern has been, we don't want this building backing up. Well, this isn't an end all be all. This is just a you know, I'm not, we
Yeah.
don't have to put
I
a
think,
building.
Stan, can you talk about the process? I think sometimes I forget and we forget and remember what the process is, that a rezoning doesn't mean that this design is what's gonna be on the thing.
It's a concept. Right.
You know,
You
we've
can
had
only do
this,
so much.
we've had these discussions a lot, and, you know, people have asked, well, why don't they do the traffic study now? Well, no one's gonna spend that expense if they don't even know if they're gonna get the zoning. So those are the studies that come after zoning is approved and we start moving down the development process. As the mayor said, right now, at the zoning stage, he doesn't have to show y'all a concept at all, really.
Right.
Because again, this is just zoning to see if the use can be allowed. Then they work through the development process. They submit a preliminary development plan to the planning commission. They review all the aspects of the site. That's after they get the zoning. And then that's also during the time when they go through the development process that we get the drainage studies, we get the detention areas, we get the traffic study. All those things are a part of getting the development to the point that they can pull a permit on and start building it. So that's how it all works.
I got a question for you, and I think this is just something, I just wanna make sure I'm 100% on with this. When they get their traffic study, when you get your drainage study, it has to come back here and it has to be approved for whatever the resolution is? Or does it have any bearing on how they can move forward?
We as the planning, as the planners and the planning staff and the planning commission, we're charged with reviewing the development plans
So it
and
goes
the
back.
traffic studies and
Exactly.
the drainage studies. So we don't want traffic problems. We don't want drainage problems. So our goals are the same as people that are living out there. They don't want drainage problems. They don't want traffic problems. So we are responsible for checking to make sure that all those things are.
When I say it comes back here, I don't mean to council, I mean to the city.
Yes.
To your office, to where you are making sure that everything is going exactly how it's supposed to. We meet the guidelines that we're supposed to.
That's right.
So nothing can move forward without knowing that, hey, there's a traffic problem and this is how it's gonna be remediated. Hey, there's a drainage problem and this is how it's gonna be remediated. And then once those things are remediated and a plan is accepted, then they can start moving forward.
That's correct.
Just wanna make sure that was true.
Correct. I mean, all that gets done before the permit is issued. And until that's resolved, there's nothing. Now, with this concept, as I stated, they'll have to come back through zoning for the PRD, as they get ready for that, but there's no reason for them to do that now because it's predicated on the mixed use portion of the site, being approved too. So they kind of coupled together, but there's no reason, they didn't want to pursue that. There's no reason to pursue that now if they're not sure about the
What's the
others.
PRD, what's that?
Planned residential development.
All right.
It's just where they have to do a lot more due diligence on the front end, and they have to show elevations, and everybody sees what the plan's gonna be on the front end. Whereas with a subdivision, once the blocks are approved, you get whatever the person wants to put on that lot, so it's a little bit different.
Question, Stan. Once this went from the planning commission did not approve it or recommend it to us. Now, if it's voted to pass, will it go back to the planning committee, or it will just move forward from there and then go back to the planning committee with the changes in the traffic study and that?
The state law says that any rezoning has to first go to the planning commission for a recommendation. Now, this was different than normal because normally the planning commission will vote to approve something or to deny something. In this case, it was a deadlock where there wasn't an approval and there wasn't a denial. There wasn't enough to get an approval vote and there wasn't enough to get a denial vote, so it just locked. So the bylaws say any vote that's not in the affirmative, in other words, you don't get a yes,
Right,
then it's considered a no.
right, okay, thank you.
Nick, I want to follow up. Marta said that it comes back to the planning commission. Is that mistaken? It coning back to the planning department?
No, they've already made their recommendation.
Oh, no, but after
Or
they've done
like
all the, law work, and they come back with their plan.
Yes,
Okay,
it goes back to us, yes.
To us being the
Planning
department,
commission,
the commission, so that we have another vote then.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the people that were at the planning commission, that were being loud and
So,
not wanting
yes.
this, did you guys let them know what the alternative was? That it was gonna be duplexes, that it was, I think that would change.
Yeah.
There's a
some
sign
things.
out there.
I
So,
know, does it say efficiency apartment sometimes?
They didn't say they were doing efficiency, they just said rental property.
Okay.
At that point, no, we had only received, I mean, to be honest, curse words and screaming and yelling. To be honest, I mean,
And we didn't even have a sign up out there, and I was already getting people stopping in the street saying,
Flipping
you
them off
can't, you
and-
can't do that.
Well.
I was like, I can do
getting
that. They
calls
said, you
saying that.
cannot build duplexes. I said, I can build
Somebody
duplexes.
cut trees.
Well, here's where I always stand. I'm a voice for the people.
Yeah.
And that's,
Right.
that, I
The loud
represent the people
people.
in my district. But, so that's why I'm asking you guys, I mean, I would really, like to vote for this, but I also want to make sure I tell the people know,
Right.
like, what the alternative is.
That's right.
And I can't, it's not my district,
Right.
but I can't tell all of those people, look, you're gonna be better off having something like this than duplexes. So
Right.
if that can be voiced to them,
right.
that.
That's
would
our
be-
think
job.
it- well,
That's our job. And just kind of like with
If
the
I-
other, I know, and so that's all gonna come back on me. That's gonna be where my role is, and I have no problem telling them, if you, I've told them, I've talked to them till I'm blue in the face.
All
I've
these
had people,
gated communities, cause all these gated communities.
there's like
are-
3 right there.
If
Y'all
I
got
could-
way more gated out
if-
than y'all.
That's how.
All right.
If I could,
I didn't know such a thing existed. This is my first time going through Jackson.
I would not suggest it.
Because
That's
another, the
Because
Windy City thing, that got
yeah.
taken off,
It did, yeah.
because there were 200 plus people
Yeah.
voicing.
I was wondering how that was gonna work in here with like 100 seats.
1.2%.
You was talking about letting it be known, it is on, Alex did an article.
I did write an
It
article.
is on 101.5 on their page.
Because we're meeting,
The whole article explaining,
yeah,
that we don't wanna put duplexes, but we will.
Yeah. right, and I'm doing everything I can to get the word out, and I'm actively meeting with neighbors, but I can't meet with 17,000, you know? I'm trying to get the word spread, and we have a, you know, not to throw out names, but we've got a lot of higher up people at the country club that are in full support, and they're talking to other members and neighbors and.
How many phone calls and emails did you get about it from within my district?
I've gotten like people verbally telling me, I haven't really had, I may have had probably 20 or 30 emails, but I've had people.
And that's probably to
calling me.
all of us, those 20 or 30.
Well, and I've had people calling me in the district and they're like, Candace, this is.
How many do you think? Because I can tell you, I've probably been on the phone with over 100.
Often,
Yeah.
I mean,
Even to the
probably-
point that one lady, her idea of she wanted a barrier put up so she no longer smelled Cracker Barrel in the back of her
Well,
yard.
Yeah.
That's
So I mean,
the
some of this
stuff-
is just
that's the
not
stuff-
realistic.
That's the stuff we're listening
Like, we
to.
just can't.
We used to be members. We're
Sure,
not even-
and I
we
want
can't
to be
afford
a
it.
member, yeah.
I mean, so,
Yeah.
I mean, when they do a renovation,
Right.
4 point something million, and they.
Yeah.
But they've been able to do
I
that
wanna
for
be a
20
member, and
years.
that's why I wanna do something that we're proud of and nice. I'd hate to go over there and build a bunch of duplexes, you know?
Right.
Because I think we all
Be
know,
prepared to talk to.
oh, it's prepared to talk
Be
to.
prepared to talk, cause.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes.
And then we can
Oh, I
have
would
your
love to, yeah.
renderings and.
I would prefer if I could get up and speak before everybody starts shouting.
It'll be after they start shouting, but you'll get a
Sure.
chance.
I'd be completely prepared.
And let me just say, just to close this out and move on to the next thing. The reason why it was kind of convoluted too at the planning commission is because they were treating it as if it was a public hearing. and the planning commission isn't released, that form's not designed for a public hearing. It's designed to look at the technical merits of a request and make a decision. But they turned it into a public hearing because somebody stirred all that up at that level. So it made the meeting it really wasn't designed for him to give presentations and talk about this, that, and the other. That's not the way that works. But I just want to say that, but we can move that.
Stan, before we resume, I do want to add, like, Candace, your point about getting the word out. What would y'all recommend other than doing what we've already done, meeting people face to face?
I think you're doing what you can do, but I also don't think that you can meet with everybody because some people are not gonna come to you. They're gonna come to
Well,
us.
we reached out to people and they just won't, like you said, they don't want to listen.
No,
It's her district.
So is there anything y'all
I do
recommend?
think a town hall meeting is good because when we had one with Joel Alexander,
Right.
Yeah.
he was very impressed how calm people listened to him and
Okay.
then we just voted. But now.
but then the vote didn't go through and he wasted his time.
Yeah, but he did have a good, I mean, I really think that is.
How does that work? Do we have time to, don't do it?
No, it's just gonna be, if anybody shows up.
They're gonna take stuff you
I think
say
a lot
and
of the
twist
people
it
that are
6
mad
ways
is one
around.
thing we've come.
All right. So I gotta move on.
Okay.
All right, so we've taken care of that one. The next one is a text amendment, that we have, in your, and again, this is another move, on our part to try to help, in terms of residential development and meet the housing demand. What we're doing with the text amendment, one of them is in number 5 and also number 6, is currently in the RS1, there is an 8-foot side yard requirement, and 12 if you're 2-story. And the developer community has asked that we look at that and adjust that, and change it from 8 to 5 and from 12 to 10. And the reason why they've said that is that would allow them to put a little bit bigger house on an RS1 lot, which would help them with not having to slide between single-family zones just to get a house to fit on a lot or not. So that's what they've asked, and the planning commission is recommending it to you. Again, it's a small change, but it really would help them in terms of getting a little bit different options on the lot. So
Does that follow national trends?
yeah, I mean there's nothing magical about 8. There's nothing magical about 12.
It's an arbitrary.
It's just a number that was chosen years ago, and it's been in place since I've been here, since 1822. So it's really time to adjust our standards to match more of what's being done
I'm
elsewhere.
glad you go back to that stuff too.
Well, the mayor tells me every time.
Because that is the only correction or changes being made right now.
To the only
Just the
text
eight,
amendment.
yes, sir.
Yeah, just going, that's the only thing is, the only reason RS2 is in there is because the RS2 had a 2-story. It already had a 5.
Right.
Yeah, RS2 already has a 5-foot side setback, but it had a 12 2-story, so we just changed it to match it.
I have another question, which should have been here because I will be getting these questions and have been all day. Can you, tell us why the other was pulled? Any reason, or just what feedback you have? Because I need to return a lot of calls tonight.
Well, I think, one, they wanted to do some due diligence and maybe talk to some people. But 2, I think they just didn't want to be a meeting when there was already a lot of fervor going around.
Okay.
They just felt it was just gonna they would be going into an environment that was negative already, so.
And we know that it's probably gonna go back on.
It will. But I will tell you this, because that question's been asked, and the mayor and I talked about this earlier. Since they're asking to postpone, but they're not telling us when they're gonna bring it back, we will have to send out notices to everyone again. So
Sure.
we're not gonna try to, some people said, oh, they're just trying to play, gonna slip something under the, I mean, you can't do that with zoning. I mean, you can't slip something. I mean, there's no slipping. You gotta give people public notice. So we'll have to bear the cost and send all those notices back out again. But people will get adequate notice.
So right now, Yeah, they said they can put trailer parks on that thing, I can't.
No, that's a different, I'm
That's
sorry.
different area.
This is
Well,
a different corner on the
Well,
building.
no,
The way it's done, they could.
I mean, yeah,
Right
I
now,
mean,
it's
they could.
it's
I mean-
residential.
But you're thinking of the other
The
end.
other end.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
once on a permanently fixed foundation.
Look, trailer north and trailer south.
I mean, state law says they can go in any neighborhood that they wanna go in as long as they're on permanent foundation, so, yes, but they're not proposing that, they're just, all they're doing is they felt like it would be better if they came in with things not already swirling around,
So Tuesday, it will not be on the agenda. Okay, thank you.
and when people ask you when it will be, back on the agenda, just let them know that they'll get proper notice. If they're within 500 feet of the zoning, and it'll also be, public notice in the paper, and it'll also be on our website.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only other one is, on 7 is an ordinance to close the abandoned portion of Lane Avenue between, North Hayes Avenue and Middleton Street. This is similar to what we did with, University of Memphis at Lambeth, when they came in, they were getting a lot of through traffic, through the campus. Not all of it was positive, and it makes it very hard, especially in Lane's case, where you've got buildings on both sides of the lane, and students are trying to make their way across and through the campus, and you've got constant through traffic, because Lane carries a lot of through traffic. So this way, they're basically allowing them to create what they've always wanted as a quad. They, basically be able to improve that area and create an area where students can move around and feel safe and not have to worry about dodging cars. So the planning commission has recommended this to you also. This is something that Lane has wanted for a long time.
I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Didn't you try this like 10 years ago?
14,
14, okay.
yeah, well, you get to 13 or 14.
Yeah, there was a,
Councilman Conger
yeah,
at the time.
yeah, there was also a plan, where they were going to reroute Lane down Orchard, as an alternative route, but Harvey lived on Orchard. And he didn't want to
He had the
follow.
seniority over me at the time.
God rest his soul.
That's such a good one.
Mr. Richards, like to make a comment on that?
No, I think it's, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
All right.
It fosters the safety of the students, there who are traversing the college across that street.
Good deal.
All right, second reading. Celebration of ordinance to rezone property located at 1037 Road, Brownsville Road, from I-1 Planning Industrial Park District to I-2 Light Industrial District, 536.1 acre, more or less.
We'll approve that on first reading, and basically we're just consolidating the property and the zoning schools.
All right, new business. Elections for vice mayor.
Who wants it?
We just did this.
Last year, every July.
Yeah, but see, like, look at that.
Somebody wants it. Who wants it? Speak up.
Who like it, you need to make a comment.
I'd take it.
You'd like to have it? Okay.
I was gonna do it since I was the next oldest person, or.
You can't do it twice in the same term. It has to be,
Okay,
yeah,
I
She did.
haven't done it this time.
like you did.
No,
I think it was, she was coming off, and then it was Russ and then Johnny.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just gonna do it because I was the next seniority, but if not, I
So
don't know
Marta or
that.
Larry, that's who wants it.
Well, I was gonna just ask, Richard is next in line in seniority.
No, I'm cool without it. Thank you, though, I appreciate that, thank you so much.
You can't move to the church.
So, Larry, if you really want it, I've done it before, but
Well,
I
that's
know
what
that,
I was
But
thinking,
you
yeah, I
gotta
do
be
want
on time.
okay.
Well, I think it's,
Okay, I wanna say one thing then before we move on. Whoever does it, I want it to be very,
professional.
one, but also it needs to be in respect of everyone that they feel open to talk, period.
Agree.
And then the vice mayor has the authority to shut down and get back on table. But I think it's very important for all of us to understand the same information and to not be told we have to cut it off, because we've made that mistake before in the past with different things we've voted on. So I just feel very strongly, I want us all to be on the same page, know what we're doing,
Be uniform.
understand.
Absolutely.
And not look like folios.
And to address that point, if someone tried to cut off debate, then this committee can say that they can't and call for a vote on it. It requires, I think, 3/4, doesn't it, to cut debate? So to answer your question, I agree with you.
So if Larry called a question on me again, then we gonna vote about it now. You done stepped off in the front of me.
I got something.
No,
Yeah, and because he did, the other thing is, I want us all to, continue to work very well together, but it is like our dress rehearsal on Tuesdays. Larger government has the ability to rehearse, talk, type. Only a small government is where it is dress rehearsal the day of. So I want us to be patient with each other, but I'm gonna count on you, because if you're gonna do this, I want these meetings run where every person feels like they got the information and the question was answered. And if not, it's your responsibility to make sure, hey, did you get there?
Do you
I
want
think
it?
I think as Marta and Mr. Dodd was saying, I received the most votes last time, but, I'm good with whatever.
So you're interested in it too?
I mean.
You would be interested if the
If I
opportunity
was
arose.
nominated and elected, sure, I would serve.
Sherman,
Sherman.
yeah, that's who said that.
Tell you what, the three of y'all put together
I'm
Resume?
put together an elevator speech.
Now, I'm pulling myself out.
I want a
If they
PowerPoint.
want to do it,
a
I've done
PowerPoint.
it. I've done it one time. If they would like to do it, I will pull myself back from that. But again, I'm just gonna stand firm that I want us to, I want it to be well run.
Send in your essay by 5 p.m. Sunday afternoon.
How many pages? How many pages?
500
is it?
PowerPoint.
At least 500 words.
It's 500 words.
I ain't reading it.
By Monday. We better out there about it.
So what we decide, two people wanna run for it, is that what we saying?
I mean, he asked.
Are you
for it
sure,
last
Marta?
time.
I am fine. I was thinking I would do it just because it was just the tradition. I would be happy to do it, but I do not want to do it if there is someone that is expressly really wanting to.
Okay.
I feel like, I hope my leadership ability will remain strong without that title.
It has
So we
before.
got, so to answer the question, we got two people interested, is that right? Is that right?
Yes, Larry
Okay.
and JP.
All right, okay, very good.
Unless Russ wants to, or Candace wants to, or Johnny wants to. I'm treasurer, so I can't, even though I
Johnny
voted
and I are
myself for
Yeah,
treasurer.
they can.
Okay,
They've
so
done it.
Candace, you want it?
I don't think that.
What about Frank? You think he want it?
No,
He's
I'll
not
answer
here.
for
So
it.
those two, we can go on something else now. Let's go.
Maybe Mr. Richard should be back. Man, way to go.
Let me say one thing on Mr. Vice Mayor. In keeping with what Marta said, I was at a subcommittee meeting in Nashville, and they got a practice that I would like for us to just think about, not instituting it formally, just the informal thing, to where they're discussing the matter, before it ends, somebody will say, or the person will say, if no one else has a question, I'd like to call for the question. But he gives the courtesy to everybody in case they might have something else to
Ooh, I
say.
like that.
So I think we ought to do that too, just say with that, if anyone doesn't have a question, I call for the question, then go with
And
with
that's
that
how
way.
I would end.
Well,
I
let's
would
think
always
about
just
that.
say, does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah,
Because
before
at
you
this
call
point,
for
it's
the
like a
question.
line of defense people are using.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad today my last day. I'm
Really, you were gonna
I'm
read the
ready.
minutes?
Yeah.
Read them?
Well, I mean, I'm not as smart as you though.
Oh, no, hush.
No, that's not right.
Well, I'm not
All right,
what
next
you
thing.
said. I'm not as smart as you. But number 2, in consideration of street acceptance requested shallow screens for section 13B and 14B.
This is the final product of a neighborhood, isn't it, Stan?
Yes, it means that we're bringing it to you, they've done all the things they're supposed to
Good.
do, and we now accept it.
Okay, what's next?
The 828.
Celebration of contract for MSD construction of Jackson, Tennessee for 4 LPRF project to include Windy City Road, Park, Shirley Mercer Walking Trail, Restroom 3, Stella Duncan Restroom, ADA Park, 4 Wallace Road Park, parking lot and walking trail.
Christie,
for a
what this
total bid for all 4 parks for $1,585,281.
All right, so, as part of our commitment to improving our access, and amenities across our park system, we are moving forward with the 4-park improvement project. It includes, as, Councilman Dodge just said, Windy City Park Road, Shirley Mercer, Park, Stella Duncan, and Wallace Road Park. On April 24th, MSB Construction submitted the lowest bid for this project in the amount of $1.585,379.59. That's easier said that way.
$1,585,379.29.
Yes. It exceeded, our approved project budget. So what, H2H and MSB has done, they've done some value engineering process to reduce the cost, but still keeping the integrity of the project scope. So what we're asking is that the original bid amount be, contract bid amount be approved and awarded by the council. Immediately upon that award, we will go in and submit change orders that will lower that down and actually bring us, under about 23,000 under the original budget.
Let me just say, I am so thrilled about the Stella Duncan restrooms. My boys use that park there in Bemis often, and there are no restrooms. So the fact that to have the opportunity to get restrooms there is
I'll also say, as far as budget concerns go, we pay for a porta potty out there.
right.
And
Right.
that has been a large expense out of our department for the past probably 10 years. So this will,
We got new equipment there not too long ago. I think last year, so maybe year
21.
before that. Yeah.
Well, and the cumbersome nature of this project and proposal, is you had costs go up between the initial yes and the time to put it in practice.
Costs don't go up.
I mean, we submitted this grant in 22. Okay, so, you have to look at what we've been through since then. We're gonna be coming back in August with the skate park. And I'm just gonna tell you, we're doing value engineering on that right now to try to bring that cost down because it was also over budget. But, it is not, it's not miscalculation on our part. It's just what happens in 3 years when we get awarded and then we have to wait. So,
Look, I want to make sure you just said, I think, this 1,500,085,000, that's already budgeted.
not that full amount, no, because we went over budget.
So how much is budgeted?
About 1.33 roughly.
So 285,000 is what you would be asking the council
I'm
to?
asking y'all to approve that, but we are going to immediately do change orders to lower that. So the cost is gonna come in about 1.310.
Okay, so you're not gonna come and ask the council for any money?
No.
All right.
So if it goes down to 1.310, then we're basically almost 20 under what's budgeted.
Yes, so we'll be able to move that money over to the skate park.
But 600,000 of this should be grant money.
Yeah, it's 50-50 match.
50-50.
Yes.
Okay, and then I think it makes good sense to just kind of estimate the porta potty, because that's also a plus.
No, I think it's $4,000 a month.
Really?
I mean, because it's 7 days, it's out there,
Sure.
you know.
To me, money, as Nathan said, money is money. I think that makes a lot of sense to just say, we have been paying 4,000,
A month?
50 grand a year for a
How
porta potty.
50 grand a year.
What,
48,000 a year? For how many
porta potty
years?
for-
48,000.
One porta potty.
48,000 a year for how many years?
For At least 13.
That
Yeah.
already, that
That's
already
120,
covers.
that's $130,000, just literally flushed down the commode.
Literally.
Flushed out to the porta potty.
Let's go to the next one, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Short.
Consideration resolution, consider contract arrangement with town council for intense outpatient treatment for more reconnection therapy for recovery court program.
So Haley's not able to make it, so I'm gonna talk about some things she wanted me to talk about. But from the purchasing side, this contract is for recovery court. RFPs were solicited for intensive outpatient treatment and moral recognition therapy. That's actually spelled right. as I think, if you look it up on Google, moral recognition therapy. We received one proposal, it's a recommendation of recovery court to award this to Hope Restored Counseling as the best proposal. The price of this proposal comes in at $3,720 monthly, which totals $44,640 annually. This contract will begin in July, and this will be a one-year contract, and the city will have 4 one-year options. She gave me a little page to say, either I can say it to y'all or I can give it to you, what would you rather me do?
Give it to us.
Okay. I can read it, good.
Is this a change in any price that we paid for years prior? Like last year? Is
no.
there a jump in this or anything? So it's the same?
Budgeted.
Same
Yes.
price, it's already budgeted.
Right.
I think this is grant funded, didn't
Yes, it is.
it? Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
To give you a really good feel about what it is, Halen did a great job out there.
That's the one.
All the next one is, Jack Howard just annual
I'm good.
report. Then we have consideration, board appointments, housing commission, appointment of Johnny Brown. We have budget amendment less than 10,000, so invoice level 10,000.
Wait, did we go over this? The consideration of a resolution to
Yeah.
approve JHA's
Yeah, the
5-year?
consolidated plan, their annual action plan.
What was the comment? What-
JHA's consolidated plan, their annual action plan. She asked if you read it.
I didn't know, I just said Jack Howard showed the annual report.
Anybody know Johnny Brown?
Yeah, I do. He's a builder. He used to have Hub City Realty. He was from Chicago. He's built all over the United States. I really like him. I think a lot of him. Every one of his houses that I've ever sold, we haven't had issues with. I don't know anything negative to say about him. If I did, I probably wouldn't say it on here now, especially.
He focuses on more attainable pricing of homes anyway, so we thought he was a perfect fit for our outreach.
He has built quite a few homes.
Affordable housing and definitely cleaning up and just trying to bring better stuff where there's things that are dilapidated and falling down and not taken care of. He's a good guy.
Knows his grass, pays his taxes.
That's right. That too.
I thought someone had something to say. I wanted to make sure.
Do we need to say, does anybody have any other questions or I'm gonna call for questions?
Do we have any other issues need to be discussed?
Yeah,
before we adjourn the
before we
meeting?
adjourn, move adjourn.
I'd like to compliment Vice Mayor Don on holding down the position so well.
I want to thank you all for helping me all year, because I didn't do much.
And also
They
doing
have
your
it.
health thing, and we.
I gonna miss you,
Johnny.
Now you got to come down here and sit.
Right. No further business, meeting adjourned.
Good job, Johnny.
Good
So
job.
I have something to tell you. So my uncle is Hispanic and he does volunteer.